have another great reader for you tonight to close us out. So thanks you all for coming. We do have books for both readers on the table over there, so please check those out at the end. But it's my pleasure to introduce Jack Bresette-Mills. He is the author of the bilingual poetry collection Touching Death, Tocando la Muerte, which features artwork by Jennifer Klimsa. He is also the author of Reasoning with an Optimist and Sensitive Beekeeping, and he lives happily with his dear wife, Barbara, in Austin. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you very much. I hope you notice what a strange and wonderful bookstore this is. When we came here years ago for a book reading, looked around at these books. I know books. I love books. I didn't recognize a single book. I said, and every time I'd come, I'd buy one and read it. It's really good books here. And I suppose that's why they have mine. no one's ever heard of me or my books. I want to give a plug to this publisher. Well, I'm the publisher, but the people who made it. When you get your boxes, this is on top of one of the boxes you open. First copy. It feels really nice. And so that's my copy. And I was so impressed that they even colored the hard book itself. You would expect that they would have just made it a black copy, but no. So I would recommend, if you have anything to say, consider publishing yourself. I had one book published by another company. I think it feels better to have your own. You don't make any money. And I'm not talking about making money. I'm talking about feeling good. That you have your book. And instead of a business card to someone, you say, may I give you a copy of my book? It's very nice. My Reasoning with an Optimist is back there. You could probably pay something for it, but I'll probably give it to you if you ask for it. Anyway, I'm giving you a plug for this book. They are quick turnaround. They're very competitive. Art Book Bindery. It's in Canada. I think it's in Calgary. And lovely people. And this is now my second book with them. When you do it yourself, you can make it the way you want. Hardcover, full color paintings. Who would ever put the expense or trust into an unknown author for that? No one would do that. So if I had turned this into someone, had them do it for me, it would have been a black and white book with paper. No, I don't want that. I want this. So this is great. Price tag would be $40. Probably not going to sell many of them, but I want you to think about it. So a book shouldn't really need to be explained, although authors always want to explain their book. A book really has to stand there and sell itself. You have to come to it and like it on its own. So we say, death, interesting, death. That's interesting, right? And it's a raven associated with death. And then you look in the back, Tocando la Muerte. It's in 2 languages. The owl, beautiful paintings. And so maybe you open it just from that reason. The word resistance is there. That's nice. You think, resistance, I like that. And so you look in, paintings, full color paintings and poems. Interesting. And so then maybe you read a poem. I was going to have you pick a number between 1 and 39, so I'm not favoring anyone particular. Someone, please pick a number between 1 and 10. So at the moment you don't know what these are, you say you read one, I'll read one. It's in 2 languages. Hey, I can learn some Spanish while I'm holding this book. Here's the painting that goes with number 10. The most monumental and at the same time the most useless act. This harakiri, a true paradox, most and least. Everything becomes nothing, and nothingness becomes everything. So that's a nice pick, number 10, because it mentions harakiri. You go, hey, wait, Spanish, Japanese, what's going on here? Harakiri. So the explanation I would give, perhaps, is this, that if you actually bought it and read the introduction, how many people have art books at home that have paintings, and then in the beginning of the book you see text? I've never read a single text in any art book I've ever had. But you might find, well, at least they're parallel English-Spanish. Maybe that would be a reason to practice and to look at it. But there's a Japanese poem here from the mid-1400s. Ota Dokan, 1432-1486, wrote this poem just before, you know what? Had I not known that I was dead already, I would have mourned my loss of life. There's an art form that, since I like samurai, movies and samurai, there's an art form called the death poem. These samurai, the bravest people on earth perhaps, able to do anything for their master. That's one thing we don't really like about the samurai today is it's really hard to picture a samurai without a master. We like to be independent, we like to be free. That was a long time ago. They had masters. And at any moment in their life, they must do away with themselves without the slightest hesitation. Already, that is something. And then to think that on their way to the ceremonial white sheet with the tools for the affair, they are allowed to pause a moment and write a poem, a death poem. What a beautiful genre of poetry. And so apparently the person who wrote these was about to die. He did it 39 times apparently. So I must explain that part and where the resistance comes in. The world is very difficult today for someone like me. And I had been writing poems for years. I've got sonnets in the other book I mentioned. Sonnets are a little easier, I think, to begin with because the form holds you. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da seems like a normal sentence. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You can write a sonnet, I think, without sweating too hard. A lot of people have tried it. It's really fun. These death poems, though, in order to face the modern world, in order to face this world, I really feel myself that I need to have passed through death. I must not have any thought of my doom. I must have left it behind. The samurai have taught us to do that. Every day, if you were a good samurai, you imagine being eaten by lions. You imagine falling off cliffs. You imagine every possible death. Not all day, in the morning when you get up. It's like part of your ritual in the morning. You do this. And then you got your double swords and you never smile. And you are brave. You can do anything. And so that is my teaching. I took it from them. And in order to survive summer of 2016 to November of 2016, I wrote a death poem every day after my meditative practice of I am dying now. As soon as I'm done here, I am dying. That made me able, of course, to write poems, but then to go into the world. And I lived beyond my death. Again and again, day after day. I'm living beyond my own death. Nothing to worry about. What kind of person do you want if you're in an accident? You want the person to rush in and pull you out of the car before the explosion. That kind of person is the kind of person that thinks that way. I want to be that way. And so pretending, in my sense, is this power to imagine my death. I wanted to read one for you, number 28. A friend I gave this to in Oklahoma, when Barbara and I were up there. She wrote me the next day and said, oh my God, she said, please give me permission to have this in the handout at my funeral. She's a young woman. She said, please give me permission, I must have this. I said, of course, thank you. And here's the painting that goes with it. These are full-size artwork. Jennifer Klimza, I'll talk about her in a moment. Within an instant, a crystal drop of light in the blue of the rainbow, vibrating pitch, is where I will now be always. Somehow that reached her. So, I have friends on Facebook, and I post my poems on Facebook. That summer, 2016, I was posting these. I said Samurai Death Poems, a kind of romantic title, I don't know. But Jennifer liked them. And I also noticed her posting her paintings every day. She seemed to be making paintings every day. And then I see her trying to sell them, and people were responding like they should have. I don't have the money to fund her, but someone should be buying her paintings. Anyway, I said, "You're a great painting. Wouldn't it be great if we did a book together?" She said, "Oh, please." It turns out she has been fighting what I have had, a depression of the world. She has been fighting it longer than I have. Her picture in the back, she made it rainbow colored. She's a little bit shy of showing how old she was. She's a young woman. But she had used her paintings over decades and decades to live, to go beyond the depression of the modern world. It's hard. So somehow we came together. I've never met her. She lives up in Oregon. I cut down my 100 poems to 50. Barbara and I picked the best 50, sent them to her. She matched these 39 with 39 of my poems. That's how we ended up with 39 poems. And I just wanted, before I go, to show you some of these. This is my favorite painting. You could just die looking into these paintings. They're amazing. And when I look at them, there's the story part of it too. Why did she pick that one for that one? Or some of these are faces. Barbara wanted me to read this one. Look at this beautiful painting. So Jennifer picked that painting for this poem. I sing now a lasting dream, small and permanent, a seed, a diamond, beneath a stone, within a star, enduring and enduring all. So there's a story behind each one. That why would Jennifer put that with that? And what do these people signify to her? And just one of the ladies in here, one of the women, is not so sad looking. She looks kind of excited, and yet it's a death poem. This looks like a children's book painting here. But there's a woman, I don't know if I'll find it. Look at this. And then you have a poem, this seed will burst. This shall become husk. Husk become detritus. As toward what light now I blindly grope. So I think that's enough for me. I wanted Ariel, one of my translators, to come up and read a couple that she liked in the Spanish. I can write a Spanish, but I can't translate a Spanish poem, and I can't read them. So please, Ariel. Maybe read one, then I'll introduce you a little bit.
Oh, sure. Well, I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm really grateful for you in the world as somebody who is willing to look unflinchingly at some of the most difficult stuff to look at in the world, all the suffering that's going on, and still somehow you're not cynical.
Somehow these poems have caused me to do that.
Yeah, so I think this book is, I'm really honored to be able to be part of that. So you may read it just in Spanish?
Maybe both.
Okay. Okay.
What number would it be?
This would be number 3. So this is the painting, really exquisite, colorful painting. It says, the cyclone spins, roars, shades and phantoms dance around tender beauty. Never a why, only how. How do I hold myself within chaos? And in Spanish it's, el ciclón gira, retumba, sombras y fantasmas bailan, alrededor de belleza tierna. Nunca un porqué, solo cómo me puedo sostener dentro del caos. And then also,
Yes.
interject after
So,
this.
I taught Ariel when she was in high school. I felt she was the smartest kid in the class. If you're ever a teacher and you've got someone like this in your class, goodness. Every time I hear what she is doing, I go, wow, someone does that. She was on the hotline for domestic abuse victims. She's been standing between the very needy and the very powerful, trying to say, wait a second, she's been protecting people. I don't want to say too much, but Ariel, I don't know what you're doing now. What are you doing now?
I'm doing a couple things. I am a private investigator doing criminal defense work with
That came out of your domestic violence work, right? People need to get facts.
Yeah, we have I work with court-appointed attorneys, and I do volunteer work around immigration.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that I got into from one of our other translators who are over there.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll read one more, or maybe one or two more. One is Endless Nights, this is number 2. Endless Nights, how many? The intimate now of pain, erasing all perspective. Silent, the companionship of my fellows, beyond the curve of the earth, aloneness absolute. Countless vigils that last forever, conundrums, now and forever repeating, time corrupted. Illusionary permanence, pain becoming time, becoming hell, or time is meaningless, pain non-existent. Where shall I be?
You know, if I was his master, I would say, come on. It's a little long for the death poem. You're not allowed to linger. You're not allowed to linger. You've got to write that poem because you got stuff to do.
There's a few more syllables in Spanish, so it's even longer.
Okay.
Noches interminables, cuántas, el momento íntimo del dolor, que borra todo, toda la perspectiva silencio, la compañía de mis socios, más allá de la curva de la tierra, soledad absoluta, vigilias incontables que duran para siempre, enigmas, repitiendo ahora y para siempre, tiempo corrompido, permanencia ilusoria, dolor convirtiéndose en tiempo, convirtiéndose en infierno, o tiempo que no tiene sentido y el dolor inexistente. ¿Dónde estaré?
And the painting for that was cute.
Yeah.
This was the only one I could kind of feel a depression in the painting. The rest, it's hard to tell. Thank you very much. I want to recognize two other translators. I had 5 translators, I think, and 3 are here tonight. Carol Jean and Alejandro. Their little bios are in the front, and each time there's a poem, there's a little initial. Alejandro wrote that one. So, oh, I'm offering something to Malvern. I love Malvern. If you would help me, normally, of course, a publisher or a bookstore will take a percentage of the book, and the author will get something. I want 10 books to be totally theirs. $40. I'm donating 10 books. I wish you would help me to make them a little happy tonight. At least 10 books can be sold that way. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, please.
This was such a great reading. Thank you all so much once again for coming out. Please check out those books on the table. There are some more snacks in the back. If you have any questions about books on the shelves, please see Stephanie, Julie, or myself. And thanks again for coming.